What is going on, everybody? It's JetsCentral coming back with another video. And I wanted to recap today's game between the Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets. The Bills won the game 41-10. Um, First of all the credit in the world goes to Buffalo. Great coaching day by McDermott, by Frazier, by Brian Daboll. They had those guys playing great football today. They didn't really have many mistakes. They're not that talented of a team, but yet they still went out. They executed. They got the job done. Love the game plan going in from a Buffalo Bills standpoint. But my God, if you from a New York Jets fan's perspective, what an absolute disgrace of a football game. What a train wreck that was today's game. I mean, in my heart of hearts, I fully believed that this New York Jets team would bounce back and beat the Buffalo Bills, a team who is less talented. Okay, they're less talented than the New York Jets. Their New York Jets are obviously at home. They're down to their fourth string quarterback who was signed 12 days ago in Matt Barkley. Matt Barkley looked like Aaron Rodgers today. What do you have? He threw for over 200 yards, 2 touchdown passes, no interceptions. The guy looked like an absolute beast. He dominated. Trumaine Johnson was back. Buster Skrine was back. And yet Matt Barkley shredded us. He shredded us. We could not get after him. We didn't really knock him down. We couldn't sack him. Couldn't stop the run game on defense, and that was one of the biggest one of the biggest strengths of Todd Bowles is his coaching abilities was the defense. Okay, and I know I am going to address the elephant in the room in a second with Todd Bowles, but I just need to point this out. How in the world does this Buffalo Bills offense go into MetLife Stadium coming off? The New York Jets are coming off a divisional loss to the Miami Dolphins. How? Please tell me how the Bills go into MetLife and put up 41 points with a fourth-string quarterback who was signed 12 days ago. That is absolutely unacceptable. Should not fly. It shouldn't. And look at it's not like the Bills have Julio Jones and Antonio Brown and Odell Beckham Jr. LaShawn McCoy's a great player. Kelvin Benjamin, he's a nice wide receiver. He's not an amazing wide receiver, but other than those two guys, no disrespect to Buffalo, but the talent level is just not there. They have a below average offensive line, and it's just I was embarrassed watching that game, especially how the Buffalo Bills came out. Interestingly enough, the Buffalo Bills came out exactly what we talked about in the New York Jets preview video, except the Bills did it, not the Jets did it. The Jets, they came out just slow, lethargic, whatever, having one total yard of offense. Okay, one total yard of offense in the first quarter. That's not what an NFL franchise done. That's not what an NFL franchise does. Okay, it's just not. You don't see. Look at the worst. The worst teams in the league: the Buffalo Bills, the Cleveland Browns, the Oakland Raiders, the San Francisco 49ers. Those teams are not getting under 10 yards in one quarter. It's just, and it's, again, no disrespect to Buffalo because they went out there and they executed. They got the job done. But it's not like we were playing a Super Bowl team. We weren't playing the Eagles. We weren't playing the Steelers, the Chiefs, the Rams. We weren't playing a team like that, and we just got absolutely mollywopped by the Buffalo Bills. Okay, so let's address the elephant in the room, all right? Todd Bowles, should he be fired? I believe the answer is yes. I'm done with it. I was done with it last week. I said that in the recap video when we lost to the Miami Dolphins. Just complete ineptitude from the offense. We're always losing the penalty battle. We're always losing the turnover battle. We always lose the time of possession battle. We always waste our timeouts. The clock management is god awful. It's an F pretty much every game. The only bright spot of Todd Bowles' team is the defense, and that today got exposed by the, again, less talented division rival Buffalo Bills with the fourth-string quarterback that was signed under 2 weeks ago. So, it begs the question, Todd Bowles, when will he be fired? Because I do not envision this team that looked like they quit today. They looked like they quit on Todd Bowles. They looked like they quit on the coaching staff. It really did. Other than a handful of guys, Marcus May, Jamal Adams, those guys were out there trying to make plays. I felt really bad for Josh McCown. I saw him tearing up on the sidelines, and it just makes me feel bad, because he's an older guy and he wants to win and he loves the game of football. So, of course, I'm not blaming everybody, but there was a handful of guys that were really out there trying. But for the most part, I mean, you just saw the Buffalo Bills. They were just setting the edge with ease. I mean, you saw LaShawn McCoy breaking off huge run after huge run to the outside. It was easy for them. It was easy for the Buffalo Bills to move the ball on us. And they came out like they really wanted to win. They came out like they were in a playoff elimination game where that's what the New York Jets should have been playing like. But the Jets were playing like, we started the game off 20-0 and we had no chance at all. So it makes no sense to me. No sense at all. And granted, Sam, this was Josh McCown's first game. Our starting quarterback didn't play. Robbie Anderson, our starting number one wide receiver, didn't play. Bilal Powell didn't play. Spencer Long didn't play, which you could argue is almost a good thing. It almost benefits the team after the last few weeks of Long's performances. But in any case, you can make the argument that the Jets are injured. They're banged up, of course. But to see what the Jets did on defense, to just look at this offense, it was just complete. It looked like monkeys were running the show, or just complete morons. Okay, it's just frustrating, watching and I really felt as though this New York Jets team, they're a better team than the Buffalo Bills. I'll say it once, I'll say it again. I do believe that we have more talent than the Bills, but the Bills came out and just punched us right in the mouth, and they shellacked us. Okay, just point blank period. The Bills came into MetLife Stadium and they just dominated. Okay, they just beat our tails off today, and it sucks, to say the least. But and I keep harping back on Matt Barkley, because it's just, I cannot believe. And yeah, Matt Barkley at one point was pretty highly regarded coming out of USC, but he didn't work in Philly, he didn't work in Arizona. There's a reason why he was just picked up today, or in the past 2 weeks by the Buffalo Bills. There's a reason why he wasn't on a team. Okay, and just for him to go in there and look like a beast. He didn't complete a lot of passes, but he was having success short passing game, intermediate, and in the long passing game. He looked poised in the pocket, and it just. God, it's just so frustrating. Okay, so I want to hear your thoughts on this topic. Should Todd Bowles be fired? If yes, give me some names who you want. A few names that come to mind for me. Okay, a few names that come to mind for me. Matt LaFleur, he's my number one guy. Offensive coordinator of the Tennessee Titans, who dominated New England today. Keep that in mind. Matt LaFleur, he's a beast. He came from Kyle Shanahan. He worked under Kyle Shanahan, Mike Shanahan, Sean McVay last year. He's the Rams offensive coordinator last year. He was the quarterbacks coach in Washington when RG3 won his Rookie of the Year. He was quarterbacks coach in Atlanta when Matt Ryan and the Atlanta Falcons won the Super Bowl, or got to the Super Bowl, and when he won his MVP award. So he's been around success, and he was a part of the LA Rams Jared Goff turnaround. So Matt LaFleur is my number one option. Nobody's talking about him right now. And I get it. We can't make the call to him now because we're still halfway through the season, but he's the number one guy. Matt LaFleur, I target him. Number two, John DeFilippo. Okay, he's the offensive coordinator in Minnesota. He's probably the hot, sexy name right now. I know, a lot of the Jets fans out there are really harping in on this guy. They really want him. They're honing in, and he's had a lot of success too. Whether it was, this season, look at what Kirk Cousins is doing. He's doing really well. The Minnesota Vikings offense is on fire. He's currently the Vikings offensive coordinator. Before that, he was the quarterbacks coach in Philly. When they won their Super Bowl, so last year. So he's been around Carson Wentz. He's been around Kirk Cousins. And then previously before that, he was the Browns offensive coordinator, I believe, with Brian Hoyer at the helm. And I was actually really impressed with what he did with that Browns offense, I believe back in 2015 under Mike Pettin. So I like DeFilippo. He's a hard-nosed guy. He's an energetic guy. He demands a lot from his players. And he's kind of, you hear it all the time. Oh, sometimes he's a player's coach. Sometimes he, the guy could be an X's and O's guy. Because, let's face it, you kind of have the two types of coaches. You have the Mike Tomlin, Rex Ryan, Mike Vrabel type of coach. And then you have the more Tony Dungy type of coach, Bill Belichick, where, one's more of a player's coach and one's more of like an X's and O's coach. But for whatever reason, DeFilippo, he kind of is a combination of both, which I really like. Number three, and, I know this is the Bills-Jets recap here, but I'm just trying to throw some names out there. Another guy to keep an eye on, If you're the New York Jets, is Matt Campbell, the current Iowa State head coach. I love him. He's turning around the Cyclones program. He's doing so much with not a lot of talent, with that program. He constantly wins big games, constantly is competitive. He is in the college football ranks, obviously, so we have yet to see what he can do at the NFL level. But Matt Campbell, keep an eye on him. I love him. And then another guy, too, who I'm personally not 100% bought into this idea, but just something to think about. A report came out today before the 1 o'clock games that said that the Baltimore Ravens and John Harbaugh are thinking about, it's looking like it's likely that they're going to part ways at the end of the season. So Harbaugh's a guy, has a special teams background, obviously has had a ton of success in the league, been around great defenses, been around great special teams units, won a Super Bowl, been in the playoffs a few consecutive times, obviously in a really competitive division in the AFC North. But Harbaugh's a guy who I like. I think he's going to bring a lot of leadership and a lot of structure to a team. The only thing is that look at Joe Flacco. He's not been able to develop. Look at the offense. They've kind of recycled offensive coordinator after offensive coordinator. The offense has always been a problem. Finding wide receivers, finding a running game. They've had a decent offensive line, but the development of Joe Flacco, is that Flacco's fault? Maybe so. But that's the Jets' biggest question mark right now. We need somebody who can, I don't want to say speed up Sam Darnold's development, but just we need to make sure that Darnold's in an environment where he can grow to have success. We can't stun his growth by any means, and that's currently what's happening under Todd Bowles. So I want to hear your thoughts on today's game. I know I don't want to say it's a shorter video because it's 11 minutes here, and I know you guys were probably expecting a little bit of a rant, but I had to decompress on the ride home. I just had to listen to music, just ride with the windows down, took the long way home, and I didn't even want to listen to the post game, and I'm gonna actually listen to it right after this video. And I think I might lose, it's gonna drive me up a wall if I hear Todd Bowles say like, "Oh, we just didn't execute," because I'm almost at a loss for words. So the New York Jets get absolutely humiliated by the Buffalo Bills, 41-10, by a fourth-string quarterback in Matt Barkley, who looked like Aaron Rodgers today. I'm sorry. I apologize for the performance that the New York Jets displayed to us today. I know there wasn't a lot of fans there, but I tip my cap to all the fans that stayed to the very end. You guys are true fans. So I apologize for the debacle. I really do. Thanks so much for tuning in. I know it gets very aggravating and depressing listening to somebody talk about, a football team that constantly loses. So for everybody that's tuned in and has hung out 12, going on 13 minutes here, much appreciated. It really does mean the world to me. So thanks so much for watching. I apologize. And as always, go Jets.